Good morning, where we are gathered both virtually and in person as one connected community. I'm Tom Ott, and my pronouns are he and him. I'll be your worship leader for this morning's service, and I'm joined by Barbara Wallace and a cast of several, and our guest musician, Alex Myers. If you are a visitor online and would like Northwest to stay in touch with you, please fill out the visitor form appearing in the chat box. And if you're with us in person, you can fill out the visitor sign-in form in the atrium. So now it's time that we greet our neighbors with a wave from wherever we are. Okay. We have a few announcements to share with you. You'll find more information about Northwest and its events in the weekly newsletter and on our website. First of all, next week we will celebrate Flower Communion. This will be a joint service here at Northwest UU with First UU coming here. And I believe it's also a potluck. For the Flower Communion, bring a flower or a green to brighten up our beautiful sanctuary. We have a special guest to perform the Flower Communion blessing, who is the Reverend Kimmy Regal, Minister Emerita at Northwest UU. Yeah. After the service next week, besides the potluck, there will be a discussion on an important decision made at GA that will be made at GA. The delegates of this year's GA General Assembly will vote on whether or not to replace the UU principles with similar but updated values in the Article 2 of the UUA bylaws. Come see a presentation about this proposal and let your delegates know how you feel. The following week, June 23rd, we will gather at First UU Detroit to experience the General Assembly service along with many other UUs around the country. Not all First UU, of course. We will gather in their social hall for a bistro church experience, so bring your favorite cafe beverage, coffee, tea, and pastries will be provided. And there's one more announcement.
So you should have received, I sent out an email last Friday evening, so you should have received an email from me stating that I have decided to resign my position as your congregational administrator no later than September 30th of 2024. Plans for a celebration and what the relationship, with my relationship with the congregation beyond the fall will be shared with you in the upcoming weeks. Just want to let you know that, and this was a very personal and difficult decision for me to make, but it feels like the right one to make for me. Currently, I do not have any concrete plans where I'm going to go, and my personal theology and spiritual lens is not to let Jesus take the wheel, but I will. But eventually, hopefully, the universe and the relationships I've been able to build beyond Northwest will find me a place for me to serve Unitarian Universalism in other ways. So I have faith in that. And so if there are any questions or any concerns or emotions that might show up for you, please reach out to the Reverend Julie Brock and also the pastoral care team with Reverend Teresa Roque for any questions or if you need to process this. With that, because I'm going through my own process and I've cared you all, and so directing you to have those questions and emotions with our ministers. All right, so that's it. And also, so with those news, let's take a deep breath and settle into a time of worship and pause for a minute here.
Okay. The flaming chalice is a symbol of our faith. We light it knowing this morning that many other Unitarian Universalist congregations across this land and around the world are doing the same. We light our chalice with words from Northwest UU's mission statement. So please repeat after me. We light this flame to grow in spirit, knowledge, and action.
We light this flame to grow in spirit, knowledge, and action.
Accept and challenge one another.
Accept and challenge one another.
To support each other in times of joy and need.
Support each other in times of joy and need.
In each week, we offer land acknowledgement. We honor and pay our respects to the land on which we live and work, which was violently stolen through colonialism, genocide, and forced removal of its traditional stewards. These stewards are the Anishinaabe, the Council of Three Fires, which include the Odawa, Ojibwa, and Potawatomi, also known as Ottawa, Chippewa, and Potawatomi tribes. We also acknowledge the people of African descent who were forcibly removed from their land and separated from their families through kidnapping and enslavement, and pay reverence and respect to them for building this country's infrastructure and economy with no compensation or reparations to date. You're now invited to rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn number 119, Once to Every Man and Nation.
That was written by James Russell Lowell, who was one of the group of transcendentalists who lived around Boston and Concord. A lot of them knew each other. If a man doesn't keep pace with his companions, perhaps it is because he hears a different drummer. Let him step to the music he hears, however measured or far away. And of course, that's Thoreau. I learned a new word recently, neurodiversity. It means that people may perceive the world from many angles, some very different from you or me. We may label people who don't seem to be like everybody else, autistic or antisocial or eccentric, but their different view of the world may actually lead to marvelous things that the world would not have seen if they had been more normal. The word autism is a recent concept, but experts believe that geniuses like Mozart, Michelangelo, even Einstein, and definitely Nikola Tesla were on the autism spectrum. What the world would have lost without their neurodiversity. Our service today is about another person that everyone, even his own family, thought was odd. Henry David Thoreau was a Harvard graduate but he never had a profession, owned a house, married, or was successful in any normal way. He failed as a teacher, he failed running his own school, he finally worked as a handyman for Ralph Waldo Emerson and ended up working in his family's pencil-making factory. He was also a writer and a poet, but he wasn't very successful. His publisher made him pay for the printing of his books and gave back the unsold one. In the play, he says, "I have a library of 900 books, but 700 of them were written by me." But this strange man's ideas inspired other people to pursue gigantic dreams. The counterintuitive idea that you can fight violence by refusing to be violent while believing firmly that your position is the correct one was quite a revelation. Henry David Thoreau's essay, Civil Disobedience, inspired Gandhi to take on the British Empire and lead India to independence. Gandhi's example and Thoreau's ideas inspired Martin Luther King to envision and lead the civil rights movement. Thank goodness for neurodiversity.
Each week, Northwest UU shares its plate collection with a community partner. This month, that partner is Black Lives of UU. The social justice team has selected the Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism, or BLUU, as our 50% shared plate collection recipient for June. BLUU is committed to expanding the power and capacity of Black UUs within Unitarian Universalism, providing support, information, and resources for Black Unitarian Universalists and justice-making and liberation for Black people throughout our faith. All designated donations will be split between Black Lives of UU and our congregation. We honor this, your generosity, by committing to ensure that our collective resources do a greater good for ourselves and our world than any could have done individually.
Thank you, Alex. I'm Mary Mueller, a member of Northwest Pastoral Care Committee. I want to remind you that anyone needing the support of our community can reach out to our Minister of Pastoral Care, Reverend Teresa Rolk, in the weekly drop-in Zoom room or in one-on-one appointments by emailing pastoralcare@northwestuu.org. For the next few months, the collective cares of the community will be recorded in our Book of Joys and Sorrows, which will remain on the red cabinet near the name tags. If you wish to submit a joy or sorrow virtually, please email pastoralcare@northwestuu.org. When I announce your name, please raise your hand. Ralph Bruckert, there you are, is pleased to report that on Tuesday he had successful surgery to remove a basal cell carcinoma. Susie Kinnan reports that Ardasha Antares had her heart pump successfully installed. As of this morning, she is off the ventilator, wow, that's good news, and is moving in the right direction, but will stay in the ICU for now. Susie is also happy to share that Oliver turned 13 on Friday, and Amelia will turn 16 next Saturday, a big week for the Kinnan family. Wow, 2 teenagers. For these and the joys and sorrows that are held in the silent sanctuary of our hearts, I offer this prayer. Sources of radiance and resilience, keep watch with those who work or watch or weep this night. May the suffering be soothed, may the sick be tended, may the weary find rest, may the dying and those who love them find peace. May the joyous be shielded, and may all know that we are surrounded in a love that is with us always, a web that connects us to all that exists. Let us take a few moments of silence to be with each other in the sacred space. We will come out singing, Spirit of Life. This morning we have a responsive reading that was written by Thoreau. Now, are the words there or not? Are there going to be words? No? Okay, then you need to open your book, your gray hymnal to number 660. I will read the plain type and the congregation will read the italics. Why should we live in such a hurry and waste of life?
We are determined to be starved before we are hungry.
I wish to live deliberately to front only the essential facts of life.
I wish to learn what life has to teach.
I do not wish to live what is not life. Living is so dear. I wish to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life. If it proves to be mean, then to get to the whole and genuine meanness of it and publish its meanness to the world. And now please rise and join in singing hymn number 331, Life is the Greatest Gift of All. And I want to mention that I chose the hymns, but Alex did some research, so all of the other music he found was maybe music that Thoreau knew, or anyway, it comes from that era. Now we're going to have a short play, a short part of the play, The Night Thoreau Spent in Jail by Jerome Lawrence and Robert Lee. So we're going back to 1846, a long time ago. And President Polk has taken the US into war with Mexico. And Thoreau does not like this idea at all, so the way he is protesting is to not pay his taxes.
Hello, Henry.
Hello, Sheriff.
What's wrong with your foot?
Foot's fine. Got a sick boot. Cobbler will cure it.
Henry, I got something here for you.
Oh?
I can understand how a man could forget being as busy as you are out there, writing about them birds and talking to the fish and whatever else you do out there by yourself. Naturally, it don't occur to you to think much about taxes.
No, I don't think much of taxes.
But they gotta be paid.
Why?
It's the law. I ain't blaming you for being forgetful, Henry. May surprise you to learn you haven't paid your taxes for 2 years.
6.
Well, I got this order, and I gotta serve it on you, Henry. Yeah.
Why, thanks, Sheriff. Fits just fine. Exactly what I needed. I may not have to go to the cobbler after all.
Now, Henry, that's an official paper. You can't walk on it.
Says who? Why not? Best thing I ever got from the government. Most practical, anyhow.
Look, it don't pleasure me none serving a court order on you. Sometimes this is an unpleasant job.
Then quit. If you don't like being constable, resign.
Somebody's got to do the work of the people.
Oh, you work for the people.
Yes.
Well, I'm people, and you don't have to work for me. You're free. If it'll make you happier, I'll fire you.
Look here, Henry. You gonna pay up on your taxes or ain't you?
Are you going to arrest me?
I don't want to, Henry, but the government gets persnickety about taxes when we got a war going on. It ain't a big sum of money, and if you're hard up, I'll pay it.
Don't you dare. I will not pay one copper penny to an unjust government. I wouldn't pay the tithe and the tariff to the church, so I signed off from the church. Well, I'm ready right now to sign off from the government. Where do I sign? Where?
You can't do that.
Why not?
Well, even the president has to obey the laws.
The poor president. What with preserving his popularity and doing his duty, he doesn't know what to do.
I don't want to arrest you.
Go ahead, Constable. I'll tell you this. If 1,000, if 100, if 10 men, only 10 honest men, if one honest man in this state of Massachusetts, had the conviction and the courage to withdraw from this unholy partnership and let himself be locked up in the county jail, it would be the start of more true freedom than we've seen since a few brave farmers had the guts to block the British by the bridge up the road. What law ever made men free? Men have got to make the law free. And if a law is wrong by heaven, it's the duty of a man to stand up and say so, even if his society wants to clap him in jail.
That's revolution.
Yes, sir, that's revolution. What do you think happened at Concord Bridge? A prayer meeting?
What are you trying to do, Henry? Wipe out the law?
As many as possible.
Henry, it would upset your ma if you run amok against society.
Well, I wouldn't want to upset my mom, but society has run amok against me. I'm just going to the cobbler, minding my own business. I ask nothing from the government. Why should it take from me? What are you waiting for, Sheriff? Get out the chains and drag me to the Bastille, to your jail.
There must be something almighty wrong when a man's so willing to go.
It's very simple. What the government of this country is doing turns my stomach. And if I keep my mouth shut, I'm a criminal to my conscience, to my God, to my society, and to you, Sheriff. You want $1 from me? If I don't approve of the way that dollar is spent, you're not going to get it.
I swear, I can't figure out what makes you so ornery.
Have you heard what they're doing down in Washington?
Well, I don't have much time for newspapers.
Open up your ears, man. Find out what he's up to, your hired man in the White House.
He's not just my president, he's yours too.
No, sir. I'm not paying his salary. He's fired.
All I know is it ain't fitting to throw a Harvard man in jail, especially a Thoreau. A more honest man than you, Henry, I never knew.
Well, thanks. Now clap me in your Bastille.
Please pay up, Henry.
If you call on me to pay for a rifle, Sheriff, it's the same as asking me to fire it. You're making me as much of a killer as the foot soldier who crashes across the border into faraway Mexico, charges into his neighbor's house and sets fire to it and locks up his children. Sheriff, you forgot
Change your mind?
You forgot your keys.
David Henry, what have you gone and done?
I have not gone and done anything, Mother. I have gone and not done something which very much needed not doing.
David Henry, you're being strange again.
Henry David.
I wouldn't mind your being peculiar, but do you have to work at it so hard, David Henry?
Henry David.
Cast conformity behind you.
Cast conformity behind you.
Hello, Mother.
You know what, David?
What?
Keeps casting conformity behind him.
What the hell? He's been to Harvard.
John, don't even say.
Harvard? I'm sorry, Mother. I'll never say it again. Welcome home, Henry. How's your overstuffed brain?
Henry, oh, John, I've forgotten everything already.
Including my name. At least you've got a diploma.
No, I don't. They wanted to charge me $1 for the diploma, and I wouldn't pay it. Let every sheep keep its own skin. John, I learned more from one man, from Ralph Waldo Emerson, than I learned from 4 years of academic droning. When this man Emerson speaks, a hush falls over all of Harvard.
There is an infinitude in the private man. If a single man plants himself indomitably on his instincts and there abide, the huge world will come round to him.
He once said, if a single man plants himself indomitably on his instincts and there abide, the huge world will come round to him.
What do you plan to do?
I think I'll sit here and think for a while.
But what do you want to be?
I want to be exactly like Ralph Waldo Emerson. Did you hear that?
I didn't hear nothing, just a bird.
Just a bird? Can you make it cry like that? Caw! Or feed on flowers? Or carry the sky on your wings? Friend, you and I can't even fly.
I guess that I'm not fully awake.
Nobody is. If I ever met a man who was completely awake, how could I look him in the face?
What did you do to get yourself locked up? A man who talks educated like you, he can't have done something small. Maybe murder or worse?
That's what I've done, murder or worse. No, I refuse to commit murder. That's why I'm here.
Who they want you to kill?
Mexico.
Who's that?
That's where the war is.
What war?
Friend, this cell may be the only place in the United States that's at peace.
Who's fighting who?
I'm not fighting anybody, but we've got a president who went out and boomed up a war all by himself, with no help from Congress and less help from me. And now, a flashback to the Emerson's living room. Waldo, what can we do to stop this war with Mexico?
I have cast my vote. I have done it. I have put it in the ballot box. What do you expect me to do more?
Cast your whole vote, not just a strip of paper. Cast your whole influence.
We have to go with the majority.
Go along.
Henry, one must consider the economical and sociological ramifications. There are complications.
Then simplify, simplify.
You complicate things all the more by rushing them. You're a naturalist. Henry, you understand the slow evolving of the seasons. You can't rush a sunrise.
We don't have time for Emerson's leisurely sermon on the slow evolving of the seasons.
How can you be so unpleasant to me when I am trying to agree with you?
I expect more from you than from anyone else. That's why I'm more disappointed with you.
Well, what do you expect from me?
Speak out.
I speak.
It's not enough. Shout.
I'm not a shouter.
Not with your voice box, with your brain. Waldo, I can't reach anybody. I can't catch the attention of people. Nobody listens to me. But my God, you are Emerson, Lord of the lecture circuit. Every word you say from the platform is treasured like an heirloom. Stand up, Waldo, and say what you believe.
Sometimes I think I invented you, Henry, or at least prophesied you, because you live what I talk about. I couldn't exist the way you do, Henry. I like my warm toast and tea and soft-boiled egg brought to me on a tray in bed each morning. Whenever I even think of Walden, I get a cold. But I admire you, Henry, I really do. You're my walking ethic. Those are the exact words I used to describe you to Carlyle. Do you know what I told Carlyle about you?
I don't care what you've told Carlyle.
I said to Carlyle, of all the men in Concord, Henry Thoreau is the best of the lot. That's what I told him. A poet as full of buds as a young apple tree. That's what I said.
Waldo, don't talk about me, talk to me, listen to me.
What?
Can you lie in bed every morning, have your breakfast brought to you, your soft-boiled egg, your toast and tea? Can you lift your right hand to your mouth while your left hand, which is also you, your government, is killing men in Mexico? How can you swallow, Waldo? How can you taste? How can you breathe? You cast your ballot with your right hand, but who has your left hand killed?
Because I don't rant like Jeremiah. Do you think I'm not outraged? I do what can be done.
That's not enough. Do the impossible. That's what you tell people in your lectures. But you don't really believe any of it, do you? You trundle up and down New England, stepping to the lectern with that beneficent smile, accepting the handshake of mayors and the polite applause of little old ladies. You go on singing your spineless benedictions.
What I say is not spineless.
Well, occasionally you've sounded a battle cry, but you yourself refuse to hear it.
You are a very difficult man.
Good. The world is too full of easy men.
Do you want me to go out and advocate violence and rebellion?
I ask you to stop violence. As for rebellion, do you think our country was hatched from a soft-boiled egg? Look around Concord. What do you see? We have become everything we protested against.
And what are you doing about it, young man? You pull the woods up over your head. You resign from the human race. Could your woodchucks, with all their wisdom, have prevented this war? Are your fish going to build roads, teach school, put out fires? Oh, it's very simple for a hermit to sit off at a distance and proclaim exactly how things should be. But what if everyone did that? Where would we be?
Oh, where's Waldo? I mean, where are we, Waldo?
We are at war. I am aware of that.
Are you aware of the reasons? Slaveholders grasping for more slave territory, more slavery, and less freedom. Is that what you want?
Henry, we must work within the framework of our laws. To end to this war, the condition of black people, this is the business of the president, of Congress.
Do you really believe that? Then I guess I am wrong. I thought you had the same disgust I have for what the military is doing. But if it doesn't trouble you, then I guess I've made a mistake. You're right to keep still. I'll go back to my woods and leave you at peace with your war.
All right, my young conscience. What must I do?
Declare yourself.
I will, absolutely. The next time the occasion arises.
Now. A year ago was too late. I'll get you an audience this afternoon at Concord Square.
What's the news? Is the war over?
What's going on?
Dr. Emerson's coming to speak. He's promised to make a statement right now. Emerson is going to rile up the whole country, and you're going to hear it first.
Is he going to speak or give a sermon?
Dr. Emerson going to speak now?
I just left him. He's on his way.
Well, where is he?
Don't worry, he'll be here.
Dr. Emerson has asked me to tell you that he wants more time to meditate on these matters so that he can write a careful essay setting forth his position.
And he gave his wife the happy job of coming to tell us?
Waldo just wants to collect his thoughts.
What is this, the winter of our content? By the time he collects his thoughts, they'll be dead as dandelions under snow. He was my God, no more. If he is the deity, I'm a doubter.
He cares what you think, and so he gets excited and overstates himself.
It's a waste of breath talking to your husband, trying to have a sane discussion with him. I waste my time, almost my identity.
I hear you both. You wrangle and tussle like boys in a cricket match, hitting and pushing each other, not for the sake of the idea, just to win.
Your husband, Mrs. Emerson, has the misfortune of being a gentleman and famous. He is drowning in his own success.
My husband's best friend doesn't even know who my husband is. You've drawn some ideal in your mind, some imaginary Waldo, the way you want him to be. Please, Henry, give him the same liberty he gives you to be who you are.
Here, Henry, I got something for you. You can leave, Henry, anytime you got a mind to.
Leave?
Yeah, during the night, your taxes got paid up.
Paid up? By whom?
Ain't for me to say.
Waldo? Did Dr. Emerson pay it?
No, sir. I told your Aunt Louisa I wouldn't open my mouth.
Aunt Louisa, I am cursed by the charity of my mother's sister.
Here's the receipt. Been nice having you with us, Henry.
I don't want it. You can't accuse me of paying my taxes.
Henry, a man's got no right to stay in jail if there's no charge against him.
I ain't never gonna forget this night. And when I'm out, I'm gonna come visit you at your pond place, if you don't mind.
I may not be there at the pond place, Bailey. Seems to me I've got several more lives to live, and I don't know if I can spare any more time for that one.
Sounds to me like it's just about perfect.
That's the trouble. If I live there much longer, I might live there forever. And you have to think twice before you accept heaven on terms like that. You ever take a boat trip, Bailey?
Just a river boat.
When you buy a cabin ticket for an ocean passage, they give you a ticket for the whole ship. It's a privilege that should be used. A man shouldn't stay the whole voyage just in one place below decks, no matter how dry and cozy and warm it is. I think I'll have to roam the entire ship. Bailey, I tried to escape, but escape is like sleep. And when sleep is permanent, it's death. I must leave, Walden. It's not necessary to be there to be there. Goodbye, Bailey. And now, according to the script, I must exit to the sound of my own different drummer.
Now please rise and sing hymn number 1026 in your aqua hymnal. This is my favorite hymn, and I've been waiting to hear it for 3 years since we've been here.
Okay. We will now extinguish our chalice. Please repeat after me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope.
The warmth of community,
The warmth of community,
or the fire of commitment.
fire of commitment.
These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
And our benediction is inspired by our ancestors, by Reverend Leah Druland Jones. For those who came before us, we offer gratitude and thanks. May their memories be a blessing. May we feel surrounded by their love. As we go forth from this time and place, let us be inspired by their courage, their wisdom, and their dreams. Let us honor them by doing the work of living boldly, loving mightily, and creating heaven on earth. Amen, and blessed be.
That last song is Thoreau's favorite song, Those Evening Bells.